Welcome to my library, dear guest. My name is Ko, and I will be your storyteller. Lean back and relax as I tell you today's story, titled Player Metagames Acts Like They Know Everything About DM's World, Speaks Incorrectly for Others, and Derails the Campaign, by the author Massacre Diablos. Hey everyone. For context, I had a group of 7 who I've DM'd for years and years now. I started DMing with this gigantic group, so suffice to say, it was like teaching someone to swim by throwing them off the deep end. I digress. Things are really good and going really well. My players tell me constantly that they really enjoy what I do, and it makes me smile. I love them very much. We've known each other for 6 years now, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. But this is Horror Stories. About a year ago, unrelated, I dismissed a player for being extremely toxic and manipulative. The story is not about them, but I figured I'd include that to establish that I'm not afraid to protect my players from toxicity. This person joined a few sessions into the original campaign years ago. To protect the innocent, we shall call them Jean, because why not? Jean did not have a great start. One of their first sessions, the party had to somberly kill a PC's mother who had been turned into a vampire spawn. Jean spent the entire session making jokes, upsetting the player of said PC. I gently told Jean, who responded that the player should just get over their main character syndrome. I don't remember any other issues in that campaign, and after it ended, I wrote up a sequel because we all still like this established world. Jean started to develop the habit of trying to find monster stat blocks that I was using and coaching the other players based on that. I tend to mix up stat blocks and homebrew them for that exact reason, so Jean kinda just kept throwing themselves at a wall and looking like an ass for literally no reason. I kind of ignored it, and the sequel unfortunately abruptly ended due to the above dismissal of the toxic player. I could write a whole post about that situation too. We didn't play for months until late December 2020, where I said that I missed everything and decided to run a director's cut remaster of the original campaign. I have since totally changed this so that it has similar characters, but everything else is totally different, and I love this campaign. Jean decides to make a mystic in 5e. They tell me this, and I was a bit surprised at first. I eventually said that I wasn't comfortable with something so contentious and frankly complicated, so we agreed that they would be a special psionic sorcerer subclass. And then I found out why Jean wanted to be a mystic. Jean's character was a kitsune who was being haunted by the spirit of a dead advisor to the BBEG who knew her secrets. And that sounds alright out of context, and I let it slide for a bit. I don't know what happened, but Jean began to act like they were an expert on a world that, while established, had been totally rewritten. Players would ask questions in our Discord, and Jean would answer like they knew what the rules of my world were. And they were wrong, so I had to clarify every time. Early in the campaign, another player met up with their NPC best friend, who was a secret royal. When they reunited and the party was discussing a plan to get into the capital mid-war, Jean just wanders off and loudly exclaims, "I am going to the beach. What's over there?" while dragging their token off the map. I pulled them aside after the session and asked what was going on and said that it was disruptive. Jean then tells me that nobody is interested in the plot and that I'm a bad DM because their character did not have anything tying into their backstory. I tried to argue, but Jean is a master manipulator, and eventually I walked away from that conversation hurt and doubting myself. These problems kept popping up until one of the other people Jean cited DM'd me and said that he really was having fun. I quietly informed him that Jean had said that he was hating it, to which he acted shocked and said that, to the contrary, he was totally invested in everything, which did not make me too thrilled. I gave a player a joke deck of plenty, using a modified list from D&D Wiki, because, while the Wiki is a nightmare, we all think it's fucking hilarious. Surprise, here comes Jean reading the list and giving the wrong information because they think that they've cracked my code. Deck owner. It's, 4 of clubs. Jean. A giant 4-leaf clover, 10 feet, grows out of the ground and then falls towards you. Me. No, Jean, what actually happens? This is a self-report, and I'm the asshole in this specific scenario, but I got fed up and killed Jean's character. It was a bad move looking back, and Jean summarily told me that I was a terrible person. I relented in the wake of the insults, and Jean's character was wide awake and alive and well in the next session. The metagaming and know-it-allness continued until about 2 months back, when I really was still stewing in the whole beach kerfuffle. I explained that while Jean had some points, what they had said had really hurt my feelings, and I wanted them to be aware. I'm not giving an apology because I don't remember how I felt in the moment. I'm still bewildered. Like, regardless of feelings, I was, at the time, still friends with Jean and was conveying that I was hurt and would just like some closure or something. I said that I was willing to put everything behind me and apologized, in turn, for literally everything I could have ever done. And still nothing. And then Jean and I, quote-unquote, amicably get Jean to depart from the game. And still, despite it all, Jean acted like it was because of my problems that they had to leave. I quietly informed the other players and ended up crying after everyone comforted me and told me I was a good DM, a good person, and that they all loved me very much. Jean is a player in another campaign where I'm also a player, and they're doing the same shit. And of course, I can only imagine what they're saying to that DM. And I could be a bad DM, whatever, I could be the worst DM on the planet. But I'm still hurting from what Jean has done, you know? No constructive criticism, just criticism and insults. Feels bad, man. And that was today's story. I hope you enjoyed your stay and that I will see you again soon, for there are always more stories to be shared.